Have you lost weight on a GLP-1 and people are starting to notice and say things to you and you don't know how to respond? Then this video is for you. Hey everybody, it's Allie. I'm on a fantabulous weight loss journey and hopefully you'll come along for the ride. So this video was requested by one of my viewers. Hello, you know who you are. And it's gonna be kind of a two-piece video. So the first thing I wanna do is address the question that this person had, which was dealing with people commenting about your weight loss while on a GLP-1 and how that can be very triggering because of previous weight loss, regain, and all of the emotions that come with that. So I see a lot of people in the support groups who struggle with this, especially those who are prone or previously had an ED. And I just want to say, first and foremost, that therapy is always a good option. Having somebody who is objective, who you can bounce these feelings and thoughts off of, can be life-saving. So I just want to start with that. Now, assuming that that's information that you already know, I'm going to go with what I would recommend. And again, as I always say, I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. You should definitely speak with your doctor. So I know that people commenting on your weight loss, whether it's friends, family, coworkers, people you haven't seen in a long time, it can be triggering. And I want you to really think about taking that moment and taking the power out of their words. So for many of us, we have been taught since we were very little children to look for validation externally. And it could be something as simple as a little kid, right, going up to their parents and saying, "Oh, look, mommy, I made this picture. Isn't it beautiful?" And while it's good to be supportive of your children, it's actually more beneficial to get them to explore their own feelings about what they did and validate those. Because when we are constantly either looking for, seeking, or traumatized by external validation, it can be problematic, especially in situations like this where you're trying to get a hold of your health, you're trying to better your life, you've been on this roller coaster your entire life of dieting, weight loss, regain, dieting, weight loss, regain, right? And thinking about what others must think of you during your struggle. One of the ways that has really helped me in my health journey to move away from this thought process is learning that what other people say and what other people think are outside of my control. I don't have any effect on that. There are people who leave negative comments on my videos all the time. There was a lady who attacked me in a support group and said that I hadn't lost enough weight to be able to give anyone advice and that I should come back when I've lost 200 pounds. Right? People say things with good intentions. People say things that are obnoxious. People say things out of anger that has nothing to do with you, right? And we don't know what somebody else's intentions are. But I will say, for this exercise, assuming that the people who are making comments to you have good intentions, right? They're acknowledging your hard work. They're seeing a difference in your skin, in your face, in your body, and they're genuinely happy and excited for you. Try to remember that they're coming from a good place, that they mean well, that they don't understand that commenting on your weight or your weight loss or your weight regain is traumatizing for you, especially if they are someone who has not experienced that before. Or maybe they are someone who experienced it before and no one ever commented about their weight, right? Because we live in a time now where it's becoming socially unacceptable for this exact reason. And so no one ever commented on their weight and their hard work or said anything. And so those who are seeking outside validation, they don't get it. And then they tend to be the people who post in support groups and say, I've lost 50 pounds, I've lost 70 pounds, no one's saying anything, I'm so sad, I don't understand. And this is a completely normal reaction. I just want to put that out there. This is a lot of hard work. And I know that for those of us who are in it, who are doing the work, who understand that this is the long game, right? And we are slowly but surely taking control of our lives and our health and our fitness and our nutrition. It can be frustrating when you're doing all of that work and either people are saying too much, right? Which can be off-putting, or people are saying nothing, which for some can be equally as off-putting. Here's my own personal example that I have talked about in a previous video. I'm going to go over it again. So I just recently went on a trip to see friends that I had not seen in a very long time, over a year. And I had lost 68 or 69 pounds at that point. So almost 70 pounds. And I thought, okay, this is going to be a big deal. I'm going to show up and they're going to be like, oh my goodness, look at you, right? And I mentally prepared myself for how I would respond. I got there and I got none of that. And I remembered thinking, okay, well, maybe it's not that much of a difference. Maybe they haven't noticed. And then I thought, no, this is me seeking external validation for the work that I've been doing. I am proud of the work that I've been doing. I know I've lost almost 70 pounds at that point. I know that everything that I'm doing is for me. Now, in 100% transparency, there was one of my very, very good longtime friends who did pull me aside and say, hey, oh my goodness, you look great. What have you been doing? And I was forthcoming and said, yeah, this is what I'm doing. And I'm working on my nutrition and I'm taking this medication and it's great. And they were super supportive and they were like, holy cow, girl, you are doing awesome. Keep at it. You look amazing. So, and I felt really good in that moment. And then looking back on it, I was like, wow, I wonder if that's what other people were thinking. But again, I have to remind myself that we are in a time, in a land far away, right? Where it's becoming less and less acceptable to comment on somebody's weight loss or gain, right? And there's a whole lot of in between in there. So, getting back to the original point, it was a great learning experience for me because I was in the situation. I was in a safe place with friends that I have known for a huge portion of my life. And I was ready for any commentary that could go either way, positive or negative. I had mentally prepared myself for that. Now, you can do the same if this is a situation that is triggering for you. Making sure that you have your established blanket response and then immediately change the subject is going to go very far for you. And I talked about this in one of the videos where early on I was talking about what to do if people say something negative to you about being on GLP-1. The same, make sure you go check out that video, the same logic or strategy applies. Acknowledge what they said. Like, oh my goodness, Sally, I haven't seen you in so long. Oh my God, you lost a ton of weight. What have you been doing? Hey, thank you so much for your comment. I'm working on nutrition and it's something that's really important to me. By the way, Jenny, how is your family? I heard that your mom got a promotion. What is going on with her? Right? Turning the conversation back to them, which as humans, we have a tendency to want to talk about ourselves, is a great way to get out of that conversation. And to do it smoothly with the least amount of trauma to yourself, the best strategy is to acknowledge what they said, give them a little bit of information. Oh yeah, I'm working on my nutrition. Oh yeah, I'm working with my doctor and I'm working out 3 times a week. Or I've started walking, right? Just something mundane. You don't have to give them your whole medical history, right? It's really none of their business. But give them something and then change the subject. And what this does in a social interaction, just from the psychology part, is it acknowledges what they said and turns the subject back to them so that they're more likely to start talking about themselves and not to continue talking about you. I have found that many people have tried to go the defensive route. I don't want to talk about that. That's not healthy for me. Please don't say that. Please don't comment on people's weight, right? And that incites more drama because then you've piqued their interest, right? Just like people love my videos where, you know, if somebody leaves a negative comment on one of my videos, I rant about it. It's because majority of people like drama, right? There's a reason why reality TV shows have done so well over the years. It's because people want to know that somebody else is experiencing drama and they can sit back and go, hey, whoo, glad that didn't happen to me, right? So if you give them what they're looking for, it will make the interaction worse. But if you give them a little bit of what they're looking for, which is acknowledgement, and then turn around and flip the script on them, hey, yeah, oh my gosh, how are the kids? I heard that little JJ is going to be graduating soon. How old is he now? Is he driving? Does he have a car? Oh my gosh, I bet the car insurance is through the roof. My car insurance just went up $100 this year for no reason. You see how easy it is to just turn something back for somebody else and turn it into an opportunity for them to talk about themselves. And I don't mean to make people sound like they're inherently selfish, but in social interactions, that's what people want to do. I'm just giving it to you honest. As someone who is inherently an introvert, which I know it may not seem that way on my videos, inherently an introvert and does not do well in big crowds, it is very easy to turn a conversation around on somebody else. And if you don't have anything on that person, if you don't know them, like it's just an acquaintance or somebody you just met, you can 100% turn it around, pick an item of clothing, talk about it. right? You just have to get creative with it. The second part to that is you want to remind yourself that you don't care about what other people think. It's not about them. You're not doing this for them. You're doing this for you. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, yeah, Allie, but I've got that one family member or that one friend or that one work person that just won't let it go. Well, in that specific case, you may have to kind of give it to them. You can go one of two routes. You can either say, hey, I'm not comfortable talking about this, and then change the subject. Or you can get angry and dish it back out to them. Right? It really depends on the situation, how close you are to that person. Is this a family member? Is this a coworker? Right? But setting those boundaries can be accomplished very subtly by just changing the subject. And that is the best advice that I can give you. And it's something that you can practice. It doesn't have to be somebody commenting on your weight. For example, I don't like to have political conversations with people. It's just my preference because everybody's got an opinion and everybody's opinion is very strong. And I find that those conversations tend to take a downward spiral very quickly. And somebody can become angry with you if your position differs from theirs. So I prefer not to have those conversations at all. Now, on the flip side, my wife loves to have those conversations. And so she will initiate those types of conversations in a family setting, like at a family dinner. And when it gets to the point where it starts to devolve, which happens, anytime you have a group of people and you're having a political conversation, sorry, I got a call, and you're having a political conversation, right? Eventually it's going to happen. You're going to touch on a subject where people start getting animated. So I use that as an opportunity to practice that skill. Redirect the conversation. If you keep talking when you're trying to change the subject, if you talk long enough, and it doesn't even have to be that long, maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds, it is enough time for other people to switch from what they wanted to say, what they were waiting to say about that previous topic, to then switching to having something to say about what you're talking about. And that's your goal. You want to talk long enough to switch the subject. So for anybody who is struggling with people commenting on their weight, for whatever the reason, I highly recommend that you practice this skill and put it to use because it can be hugely beneficial, especially in a social setting. The flip side to this is once you've either reached or gotten close to your goal weight, you may experience the people who come to you and say, oh my gosh, you're not going to lose any more weight, are you? You're so skinny. You're so sickly. Are you okay? Because you're so thin. You looked better before, right? Those people, you need to, again, be honing that skill of changing the subject. Or you need to decide, are you going to try to educate and set a boundary? Or are you going to try to make it an uncomfortable experience for them so that they don't do it again? Which usually involves being more abrasive, right? So it just depends on what you're comfortable with and how you want to tackle it. And for me personally, it depends on the situation. There are times when I just ignore it, or I utilize the changing the subject. There are other times that, people are positive and supportive, and I will talk to them and say, yeah, this is what I'm doing. This is the medication. This is how it works, to try to end some of the stigma that goes along with that, because it doesn't bother me what other people think. Or there are times when people have made offhanded comments about, oh yeah, you tried to take the easy way out. And I absolutely shut it down. And I will be equally as abrasive and attack them. And then I say, how did that make you feel? How do you think how do you think that made me feel? Aside from telling me that you don't know what you're talking about. Right? So it just depends on what you're comfortable with. But practice makes perfect. Practice talking to people and changing the subject. And not just with the natural flow of the conversation. Actively change the subject. And that will help you to become more confident, so that when you're in a situation where somebody catches you off guard and triggers those emotions, right, from years of weight-related trauma, you'll be ready. And you can face it head on. And it may not go smoothly the first time. As with anything in life, it takes practice. But I know that you can do it. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe. Make sure you check out my other videos. I have other tips and tricks that can help you along your health journey. If you're looking for a positive-only support group, don't worry. I've got you covered. Link is in the description box below. And as always, be kind. Rewind.